I would like to give a very warm welcome to Sriman Keshimardana and Prabhu from Ireland. I'd love to know where he is in Ireland because it's a beautiful country. And Prabhu joined the devotees in 1978. So very long experience in bhakti, very senior, and came to Srila Gurudeva in 2006. I had on my information that you took Harinam in 2011. I was like, well, you must have known something I didn't, because Gurudeva wasn't on the planet in 2011. You took Harinam in 2010, so just during, must have been in the middle of his disappearance pastime, so a very special time to take Harinam. So Prabhu, it's 12:25 in Ireland. Please, the Vyasa Sun is yours till 12:55. A very warm welcome, Prabhu.
Okay, can you hear me?
Perfectly, and I'm going to mute myself so there's no disturbance, okay?
Okay. It's the first time I've done a Zoom. Yes, well, I first came across, I was at a Sattvator seminar in Ireland, and Dear Govinda was there, and there was a stretch they had to do. It was a very interesting thing. So it was Madhava, who's a disciple of Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj. He did his stretch, and he had to act that he was a shaman for 45 minutes. So he did this very well. You know, he had his body painted, and he was wearing like a cloth skirt thing, and he was going around shaking. But when he finished, everybody clapped. They thought it was an amazing rendition of a shaman. And then he said, at the end, he put his hands up and he said, Radhi, Radhi. And as he said that, I saw Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj behind him very clearly. I had never seen him before, though. And he was smiling, and he also put his hands up. And at the end, I was thinking, you know, what on earth is this? So I went to him at the end and I says, I saw this man with a beard behind you, and he seemed to be really happy with you. Who was that? And he says, oh my God, he says, that's my Gurudeva. And I says, who? And he says, Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj. So for me, it was like a very mystical sort of a thing, and I couldn't figure it out. Just it didn't make sense. But my mind was stuck then. I was always thinking about Narayana Maharaj. And in Ireland, we had very bad training all against Narayana Maharaj for years, from different leaders there, you know. And I took that poison, so I couldn't help that, you know. But after seeing that, when it happened, I was a bit surprised. I was actually shocked. It was like a sort of revelation. So then I got a little bit more involved, and different devotees would come here to Ireland, and they told me about Narayana Maharaj, and I started to revise the poison that I had been given about him. And then one devotee said to me, here's his phone number, just phone him up. And I says, really, just like that, out of the blue? And they said, oh yeah. So I took a chance one day and I phoned him up, and he was walking in India somewhere. And he says, who is that? And I says, my name was Gobata. You know, first I was Jayatirtha disciple, and then I was Satsarup disciple. And he says, whose disciple are you? And I says, I was Satsarup. And he says, oh, I'm very sorry to hear your guru fell down, but don't be disappointed. And he says, never give up doing bhakti. And I was kind of a bit surprised. I was a bit shy, you know, just out of the blue. And he says, Satsarup, he was one of the best of them. He said that to me. And then just out of the blue, he said, I bless you with Krishna Bhakti. So I was a bit taken aback, and I says, pardon? And he says, I bless you with Krishna Bhakti. Please don't give up this Bhakti process. So that was all, just a quick phone call, but it really influenced me. And at that time I was in the middle of trouble with my marriage as well, because I brought my wife to the Krishna and I brought her to ISKCON and all that stuff. So she was saying, you brought me to some strange cult, you know, and if Satsvarup, he's supposed to be our guru, he can't make it. What's the point? So anyway, I got a divorce eventually. But in the middle of all that trauma, I was listening to some of Gurudeva, and then I went at one time to Italy. I went twice, in fact. And when I first saw Gurudeva in Italy, I was, again, I was really surprised, because I'd never met someone. He just had this atmosphere and energy about him that he seemed to know. When I arrived there, he seemed to look at me and really catch that I was there. And it was a bit shocking, but at the same time, while I was listening to him give the class, all the poison that I had been told about him rose up inside me. And it was a very strange experience. And it was like, well, I could say it was like a big snake rolling around inside me, you know, all the false ideas. And it was very unusual, but I knew they were wrong and false. And I was witnessing them, you know, they'd been told. And I realized that we have to be very careful what we hear from others. I was given false information. And I don't know how, but I just felt Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj is so genuine and so real devotee. And somehow that I wanted to follow him, and I'm still trying to do that. Now, I'm not what you might say, a very, very good devotee. I don't think I am a devotee. I think Prabhupada brought me to the Krishna thing out of his mercy, and I did some service. But I felt that Prabhupada sent Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj to give me another chance. And I think Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj is, the more time has passed now that he's left as well, I feel all the more that he's exceptionally genuine and real devotee. So that's my position now, and I'm trying to serve, and I want the blessings of everybody that you please pray on my behalf. Ask Gurudeva to help me, that I can let him take charge in my heart and do some service. In fact, that's what I want to do. My place here in Ireland, I've got 3 acres. I want to make some sort of little center, like a Bhakti Yoga center, or I was talking to Prem Priyojana, the Chaitanya Academy, maybe under that banner. And I'll be one of the caretakers of it and try to present Krishna in a nice new way in Ireland, because so many devotees have been devastated. My generation of devotees are devastated. They're all just ignored and sort of neglected. And I heard that Gurudev said his only business was to go around and try to help broken-hearted devotees and bring them back to bhakti. So I'd like to be an instrument maybe to try to help that. So yous are all good devotees, and please bless me that I can be like yous and do some service. So that's all I can really say. That, you know.
Beautiful, Prabhu. It's beautiful. That's beautiful. Sometimes people say more in less time.
Mm.
Yeah, it was very, very touching story, Prabhu. And you never came across someone in Ireland called Fumi, did you?
Called who?
Fumi, Fumi.
No.
Okay, no, she's a someone who came to the devotees and was on the periphery, but anyway, that's another story. So that was very, very touching, and there's some interference on the line. One second. I'm just going to change the something so there's not interference. What I'll do is when I'm speaking, I'm going to mute you, Prabhu, and then I'll unmute you, okay? So there's not interference. Yeah, no, that was a very, very beautiful and touching story. And it's very interesting how ISKCON is developing and how we are all developing in a relationship with ISKCON, because Gurudev would say we are all ISKCON. So actually, obviously there's so much pain that's happened through people's evolution in their consciousness and their pain they've experienced through fallen gurus and like the poison you were saying. But ultimately, we are one Chaitanya family and we're one Chaitanya tree. And it's true, sometimes, you know, the branch can get separated from the tree here and there. But over time, if we're tolerant and we're patient and we're loving and we don't criticize, then those that take the guru away from parampara and isolate the guru, over time, the truth always comes out. The beauty always comes out. We don't need to criticize anyone for the beauty to come out. All we have to do, as you were saying, is serve and remain faithful to the one Chaitanya tree, remain faithful to our Rupanuga Guru Vag, to remain faithful to these beautiful teachings that are so resplendent and intimate and delicate. And if we are always talking and preaching and acting the truth collectively, then over time, all of these differences will naturally iron themselves out. Just like if you continue pouring pure water into a dirty glass, eventually you'll only have pure water. So I'm very confident, although over 1 month, 1 year, 10 years, 20 years, it can look like there are lots of ups and downs and lots of pain and lots of people may lose their faith. Over time, when you look over 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years, 500 years, and more, which is the vision of this Mahaprabhu movement, then everybody goes to the destination, the beautiful destination eventually. There's a beautiful expression which says, it will be okay in the end. And if it's not okay, it's not the end. So I think this is a good example for Krishna conscious. I'm just going to unmute you, Prabhu.
Yeah, that's true. When I first got interested in the Krishna thing in 78, there was no devotees in Belfast. It was in Belfast. But it was through Prabhupada's book, of course. And for instance, I was 18 at the time. I was going to get married and everything. And I was going to college to do art. And then I read in the Gita before I went one morning to art. And it says, if one surrenders to Krishna, he has no obligations to his family, to his country. Krishna takes care of everything. And I opened the page then, and there was a picture of Prabhupada, and the picture in the book became like a TV. And I got surprised, and it was like a little voice says, come and see me now. So I didn't know it. I was 78. I didn't know that Prabhupada had left. So I went, and I had no money. So I sold my Rolling Stones and Beatles LPs to get the train fare to Dublin to join. But I really wanted to meet Prabhupada, and I joined. And the next day they told me Prabhupada left the planet. And I actually cried because I wanted to meet him. And he says, this is your Guru, Jaya Tirtha. And at that time, my heart says, no, he's not. But with pressure and peer pressure and things, I went along with it. But with meeting Gurudev, it was a very similar experience, like a mystical experience that your mind can't understand, you know. So it felt like really that Prabhupada had asked Gurudev, go and get that fellow there, that Irish boy, pick him up, give him a chance here. So like even when Gurudev gave me the Gayatri mantra, when he said the Gayatri mantra, it felt like I had been smoking hash or something. You know, it's just, he's so genuine. And I don't want to be a sentimental, fanatical follower either. It's not the point. The point is he's a real powerful Vaishnava. I wonder what he said to me when the genuine guru leaves. He becomes more powerful because his energy, he's not limited by the material form. And if we ask him in our hearts, he'll flourish and guide us and help us. So I'm asking all devotees to please pray that I can let Gurudev take more prominence in my life. Because now my body's 64 and I would like to become more dedicated in a natural way. I think the whole Krishna consciousness can be presented in a much more natural way so that people can digest. I think ISKCON, it was too fanatical and too Indian and Eastern, you know. We have to find ways it's more easily accessible for the public. That's my feeling anyway. And I feel Gurudev gives us all that permission to present Krishna in our own natural way. And like Prabhupada said too, I'm from Ireland, so I know the Irish mood. So, you know, so I would like to have a little center somehow here and be the start and have many all over Ireland. Not have a fight with ISKCON, but just to help. And it would be so good.
It's beautifully said, Prabhu. Krishna is not Indian or any other country.
No, he's not.
Krishna's blue. I've not seen a blue Indian. I've not seen a blue anyone. So Krishna is not limited by any ethnicity or nationality. What you said is beautiful. Prabhu, are you do you read online with devotees? Because we have quite a lot of reading groups if you're interested in becoming reading with devotees.
I don't yet know. This is the first time I've done Zoom. I didn't know how to do it, so I fiddled around. But maybe, yes, I'd like to get connected that way, yeah.
Would it be okay? Can I follow up with you and connect with you?
Yeah.
That'd be lovely. I'd love to maybe suggest that there's so many reading groups you can get involved in, and that in itself is Sangha that's not, it doesn't replace physical Sangha, but it's in addition to physical Sangha.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Beautiful.
Can I ask Prabhuji if he invited Umadidi to Ireland, if he was there on that occasion?
What's that again?
Did you ever invite Umadidi to Ireland, and were you at
Yes, she was here. She was here for 4 days in my place. Yeah.
I was driving her. I drove her with Ranga Didi and Rinda Didi to that program, so we must have met before.
Oh yes, I think I remember. Yeah, we have a picture from the temple room. Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Prabhuji. Again.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you. But one last thing: are you still in Belfast, or are you in another part of Ireland now?
No, I'm in Fermanagh. It's
Fermanagh,
about
okay.
40 minutes from Innisrath.
Yeah.
It's a county cabin, but it's a great little place. It's very remote, but you're only 35 minutes from big towns. You know, you can go and I'd like to, you know, grow vegetables and all that stuff. And I have my own little temple room and all.
Beautiful. Thank you. I have a couple of ideas, but we'll catch up later. Haribol.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Haribol. Thank you.
Haribol.
Hope you can stay for the rest of the program. So we'll thank you so much to our dear Sriman Keshimardana Prabhu in Ireland there. That was beautiful. Lovely to meet him.